Hi everyone, this is Gina from Fibers and Design, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you 3 nature weaving projects. Now remember, always safety first, so when you're outside and about and you're handling plants and things that you don't know what it is, please watch your step and also wear gloves to avoid any allergies or any insects that might be on the plants. Alright, let's get started. In this first project, you'll be using some branches and the found leaves and greens and some yarn or twine to hold it all together. So first we're going to start by building the frame. So you want to take 4 branches. Now here I have 2 longer branches and 2 short ones. It's up to you to decide how big you want the frame to be. And from there you're just going to start tying and securing those corners. And so once they're all in place, you just want to double check to make sure that they're secure. You can wiggle it around a little bit, and once it's ready, then you're ready to put on the warp. This is the same yarn that I used to secure those branches together. So now I'm just going to measure out the length here that I want. And I found it easier to kind of pre-cut this. So what I've done is I'm going to individually add these warp yarns. So I'm going to loop it around here at the top. I'm going to make sure they're secured in place. And then I'm going to stretch it down to the back, to the bottom one, flip it over, pull those 2 strands through, and then secure it back on the front side. I found this to be a lot more a bit easier, and it looks better for the design than using one continuous yarn strand. Now it's up to you how you decide to do it, but I just found when using these bulky branches that using this method, the greens that I used were able to stay on a lot better than just with one continuous strand. So the next step is to kind of just figure out how wide you're going to dress the loom, and then just keep doing the same method all the way until you've reached that desired length. Once you've reached the end of dressing the loom, then what you're going to do, well, at least what I did, this yarn was a little bit loose, so I just decided to kind of tighten it up. So I just wanted to make sure that I had it in position that I wanted, but also to make sure that they are firm in place. Once that's all finished, then it's time to start weaving. Now, I think that I've really enjoyed weaving with plants and nature so much. I don't want to say I loved it more than I did with yarn, but it's a material that I don't use often, and so it's just nice to use different materials and see what they do. And so I just encourage you to try to choose a variety of materials and, of course, be safe about what type of materials you're using for the weaving. But what makes this so different than weaving on a frame loom or weaving with yarn, I think, is that you can really experiment with this and without any stress. While I was weaving this, I didn't care that I didn't choose every warp yarn or it was checking edges or anything like this. This was just solely about adding nature to my loom here. So, take your time to add things, try things, and experiment with the colors and things like this and texture. So as you can see here, I've already started to weave and experimenting with different lengths and leaves and textures. And as you probably have seen, I've been using this little stick, and this stick I've been using to kind of push the yarns down, or not the yarns, to push the materials down and to kind of make sure that they're secured in place. And again, I'm just experimenting with the different types of leaves and different lengths. Now, once you get towards the end here, you kind of want to think about how you want to start and end it, and secure secure the material. Is anything going to be hanging, or is there going to be something special at the end here? So think about it as you're weaving, what you want to include, and there's really no rules to it. Just secure the materials. And once you finish adding the leaves and things, then you can, I like to go back and resecure those yarns one more time, and secure those leaves, make sure they're in place and not going anywhere. And at the end here, what I did was I flipped over the loom to tie off those loose ends so you can't see them anymore. So here on the back, I'm just tying it, and then I'm going to go in with some scissors and then just cut off those ends. This took a little while because you have to move the yarns through the piece, but as you can see here, the piece is very clean looking at the end. Again, at the end, I just want to check those yarns again in the spacing, just making sure that it looks just the way I want it to. I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist, but I like when things look nice and everything is fit well before I end the project. And yeah, here is the final look of it. Yeah, I really had lots of fun making this, and I would definitely encourage you to give it a try. Remember, there is no wrong way. In this project, you're only going to be using natural materials to weave. So you don't have to worry about having any yarn or any extra materials. If you have a piece of tape, that could help, or if you have a heavy rock, that could help. But other than that, we're just going to be using some natural things. To get started, you'll need to find a plant that has a thin or thick, long stem. Now you want to make sure that this stem can withstand the pressures of weaving and can help secure and keep whatever you're weaving in place. Taking at least 4 strands of this stem, you want to tape it down or use a heavy rock, and you're going to begin weaving. Now here I'm using this kind of thicker and very flexible grass to weave first to create this base. Now, because it's all natural materials and, you know, as you can see here, the stems are moving around. So I wanted to create a base at first to kind of give it structure so that when I start moving the stems around and adding more materials to it, that it has a base and it has structure on the ends. And of course, at the end, I could change this up a little bit or add more to it. However, I just decided to just take this more sturdy material and then start weaving on it. There's no right or wrong way when weaving this, and I really encourage you to experiment with the different textures and colors of things that you find. Um, Now, again, you want to find material, so such as this long kind of grass, that is flexible and can stand the manipulation that it's going to go through when you're weaving on this structure here. So yeah, try different. The when I was weaving this, I of course you realize, okay, yeah, everything is green, but you really realize, whoa, I'm working with a green palette. However, the textures, the hues, the shapes are all different, and so it helps diversify, pick things that are different and can add something interesting to this piece, to the weaving. So you want to just use stuff that can be interesting to you, and really just have fun making this piece. In addition to the texture and color, you can also experiment with the placements of the material. Maybe you have some parts or ends hanging off, or some parts stick out, or you just keep some sections with everything secured and unified. Um, Try experimenting with this too. Now, once you get towards the top, it's up to you how much more you want to weave to. I decided to kind of weave as high as I could go because I really wanted to keep that structure. These stems are strong, but I just worried that it would come undone. So I just decided to just keep going up to the top until I reached a part to where I thought it would really keep its structure. So it's up to you, and once you have finished that, you just can untape it and it'll be ready to go. This is the final design of the piece, and I really love it. It's so green, but and so beautiful and textured. And with just a few minimal materials, you can make one yourself too. In this third project, we will explore branch weaving. So for this, you will need some yarn, and you'll also need a branch that has this form of a V or several branches, but you want to make sure that the branch is sturdy. And you can check that by just squeezing the branches, and if they stay intact, then it's ready to go. I would say this branch here was on the brink of breaking. However, it managed to stay intact. So once you find the branch, you will pick two parts and you'll tie your warp yarn onto one part of the branch. And then you're going to extend it to the other side, the opposite side. And once it's on the opposite side, I just loop it around that opposite branch twice, and then I send it back across and through the branch and go to the next one. And I just keep repeating this. It's kind of like go across, loop twice, go under, and then loop on the opposite side twice. As I continue this process, as you can see, one of my fingers is always sticking onto the previous branch area. And this is to make sure that you're checking the tension and keeping a consistent tension. Unlike another type of frame loom, I can't go back. I could go back at the end, but it's going to be very difficult because I'm double looping each branch to make sure that the yarns stay in place. So you want to make sure that you're keeping up with the consistency of that tension as you are dressing this branch loom. Once you reach the end, you're just going to make a knot to secure those yarns. Now in my design, I'm going to actually make two sections. So I already tied off the first section, and I'm just going to repeat the same thing and make one more section here for the weaving. I think I forgot to mention that probably before you start weaving that you would probably want to remove any extra twigs or things that are on the branch and just make sure that it's overall cleaned to your liking for the design. Now, once you're ready to start weaving, you can go ahead and get your tapestry needle and a fork or your tapestry comb, and you can just begin weaving as usual. Now, it's up to you to decide what type of materials you'll be using for weaving. I do find that working on a frame like such as on a branch can be a little bit awkward and can be a little bit difficult. So you want to find yarn that's easy for you to manage and use on this frame, and you can use anything that you like and maybe think about a concept, especially if you're weaving in two different sections such as what I have here. And you're just going to continue weaving. what makes this project a little bit different than the first two is that you are dealing with yarn and you might be more concerned about edges and things, but I think that I still encourage to just, have fun while you're making this piece. I always find these little nooks here really, I don't know, awkward to weave. I can't really explain it, but I always find this a bit difficult because you have to keep pushing down the yarns because you find more and more space. So here you just need a little bit more patience. So once I finished the first side, I wanted to go to the next side and kind of use the same color palette and some color techniques. So yeah, just jumped right in. Once you finish weaving, you can go ahead and cut those loose ends in the back and it's ready. So here is the final look of this piece, and what I really like about it is it's really relaxed and low key, and you can just have fun making it. The three projects for weaving with nature, and did you have a favorite or have you ever tried it before? I'd love to know what you think in the comment section below. If this video was helpful for you, then please leave a thumbs up and please subscribe for more weaving tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care and see you next time. Bye!